When I started playing, I started out when I was about 14 or 15, and my big hero was Chet Atkins. Now Chet Atkins playing was like, you know, you get that thing going. So then you'd be playing like. Anyway, I was doing that, you know, I really liked doing that. I learned how to get that syncopated pick, and believe it or not, from an old Peter, Paul and Mary record, there was a tune, I can't remember what the tune was, it was really, really slow, but Peter was playing the guitar, like, I couldn't get the thumb thing, and Peter was playing it like this, he was going, like the tune was like really slow, so I didn't have to slow the record player down, and I learned it from doing that. But then I said, well, I don't really want to play like Chet Atkins, so I said, you know, I wanted to play a little bit, you know, more folky and a little more interesting. So I started doing stuff like, you know, where you're doing like same tune, would be like. Well, I do that, and then I heard Lenny Breau do it. I said, well, I'm not going to do that tune anymore, because he turned it into a jazz flamenco miracle. So I said, well, the hell with that. I'm not going to do that anymore. And then I sort of got into blues music, which I liked. You know, I liked blues when I was like 18, 19, 20. So I started, you know, like this, that kind of stuff, you know. You know, lots of bending. My strings are too thick for bending. I mean, that kind of stuff. And then I got into sort of like pop music, pop rock, you know, which I liked, you know. And I was in a couple of bands, you know, like Pepper Tree and Fox and Fruit. You know. That was fun. But then I discovered this. Chicago, and Terry Kath, and I go, Jesus, that's too much. That guy was too much. And anyway, well, now, you know, I had a Wes Montgomery record when I was young, and a Bulgarian guy named Alec Bacik, who could really play, but it never hit me, you know, the kind of to connect the kind of style of jazz and rock, you know. And getting away more from the rock and getting into jazz. So after I went through my little Chicago phase, I started listening to people like Howard Roberts and Herb Ellis and Joe Pass and people like that, and you know, like horn players like Lou Mitchell and John Coltrane. And of course, I was very interested in learning that stuff. I even went to, I spent a weekend with Howard Roberts in a workshop in Boston, and I ended up studying for a year in Miami, Florida, with a guy named Vincent Breedice. Vincent had two very, very world-class students. One was Joe Diorio, and the other was Sid Jacobs, and both of them taught at GIT, which is now MIT, Music Institute of Technology in LA. I think any major guitar player that ever came out of LA went to that school. And the quality of their playing was just tremendous. Very innovative people. But my thing was just, I like chords, and I like playing. And my biggest influence, I think, ever was Ed Bickert. Now, when you're influenced by Ed Bickert, it's very difficult when you're playing, not, you know, like I remember if you start doing stuff like this, okay? Lenny Breau, everybody starts going Lenny Breau. Well, it's the same with Ed. It's like you start playing, you know. this stuff like. But the thing is that you can't get away from certain sounds. You know, people, they want it's like looking up in the clouds and seeing shapes, even though they're not real. You want to see something solid. So when people listen, they want to be able to relate. So it doesn't matter to me if people think it's a compliment if someone thinks I sound like Lenny Breau or I sound like Ed Bickert, but you know, I try not to sound like that. That's why this guitar, this used to come in like, it had two metal skinny legs that went in there, and it didn't sound very good. And it had a different pickup on it, and I put a wooden bridge on it to give it a more woody sound. So this is actually there's a similar rock guitar called a 3 I forget what they're called, 335. This is a 330. It's hollow, so it's more. Grant Green used to use a guitar like this. It just has a more woody sound, a little more resonance than sustain. That's the sound I like. Anyway, enough talk. I'm going to play you something. Thank you.